Yeah, so I'm going to talk what is intent-centric protocol, and also how to implement it, and also if the current blockchain can enable the intent-enabled protocol. And also we provide a model to make it happen. And as Eric mentioned, we should need a universal framework for the intent-centric protocol. So I will introduce what is Aspect and what is our solution for the universal framework for intent-enabled protocols. Like why we talk about intent-centric protocol? Because now we want to achieve intent whereby architecture like a mempool. So by in a mempool centric architecture, just like Paradigm mentioned in their like research, the transaction need to be orchestrated and processed to achieve intent, which means we need a middleman to be the propagator of intent. They need to propagate the intent, and also another guy need to solve the intent. So there's always a middleman in the like to be the propagator. So it need to be incentivized and need additional trust because we need middleman, right? So within this framework, the protocol itself cannot, even though it do not need to be changed, but it's still unable to produce desired outcomes by themselves. So that's like the current protocols on a mempool-based architecture to achieve intent. So, however, if we imagine protocols can produce the desired outcome, they can by themselves be the intent-enabled protocol. Do we still need kind of mempool-based architecture? To our understanding, maybe yes, but it definitely will be two kind of form. First is still the mempool-based architecture, especially for Ethereum, but definitely there are lots of talk among Ethereum because one is that it cannot support propagation in Ethereum mempool. Also, like there are concerns about DOS attack. So there should be another form, intent-centric or intent-enabled protocol. There are lots of research around the mempool-based intent architecture. So what we want to talk today is intent-enabled protocol and how to achieve it. So I want to use again about the use case Eric in Dodo just mentioned in his previous speech. Still the limit order, but honestly, limit order or order book or AMM are two different design, right? So AMM is much easier and usually on-chain, but limit order, if you want to achieve this functionality, is usually off-chain. It's more complex, but more common used in the Web2, the exchange. But like we can see Uniswap or OneInk or Call Protocol, they actually use their AMM design to achieve on-chain limit order. So it's a really amazing innovation, actually. This can be a role model for the intent-enabled protocol. So we want to start from here. Yeah, so we dig into the code of Uniswap V4's hook design. Like maybe I can use the example to make it easier to understand. For example, I'm a user. I have an intent. I want to sell my ETH. It's 3,000. Maybe it's not realistic for the current market condition, but just imagine it. Actually, the hook contract helps the AMM design to solve this intent. It's not the AMM pool directly. So how does this happen? Is that so according to the hook, throughout the post transaction life cycle, you can add additional logic throughout these call points to add this hook contract to solve this intent. And also, if I'm a user, I regret, I don't want to sell it anymore. The hook contract can help me cancel and kill this order. So that's actually what you can. Okay, let's start. Yeah, with the hook design, AMM could solve the intent of limit order and fully on-chain. So what Uniswap V4 show us, we can achieve intent at a protocol level, not need necessarily any third-party architecture, mempool, or anything. And second is that hook design actually makes this on-chain intent solver possible. And third is that, as we can see, like hook contract, we need an on-chain computing unit, or we can say a coprocessor with smart contract for this intent solver. right, like move one step further, is that hook makes on-chain intent solver possible. Like smart contract, during its execution, it has a lot of stage. There are lots of call points. So it will expose with its runtime context to these points. And there should be a hook contract act as intent solver for these protocols to solve the intent of users. It can insert the transaction with its outcome back to the smart contract to continue the execution. Maybe it's hard to understand, but I can go a little bit further to get another level of abstraction. So a smart contract is a program. When it runs, it will emit event with runtime context. And this event will trigger a computing model to do the computation on-chain. We call it on-chain intent solver. So this is called, in Web2, it's called event trigger programming. You may have heard of it, but it's totally fine. And also like this in on-chain intent solver, after it's finished the computation, it will insert the result back and also create a new transaction. It's a just-in-time transaction, but just like just-in-time LP, it's in a deterministic order back to the smart contract. The smart contract can continue to execute. But the thing is that I want to say, maybe use a human word, is that intent solver not necessarily need to be the original smart contract. It can be additional, something like a hook contract to achieve this intent. We all agree that it may be a good design for maybe the future so-called intent-focused or intent-centric protocols, but the current hook is actually limited. I want to say 3 limits here. First is still running Ethereum with high gas fee and limited computation capability. And second is that because it's in the smart contract level, as a hook, you can only, for the hook transaction life cycle, but it's still limited runtime context for the computing unit. Because for smart contract execution, even like before smart contract execution or after smart contract execution, there are still multiple stages. So there are lots more runtime context than the smart contract itself. So it's limited. What we need is actually a blockchain level runtime context. And also the third thing is lots of people haven't noticed that, because we all say Uniswap V4 is good, but I want to say one of these drawbacks. I don't know if you are Uniswap V4 by type. Yeah, it's a fee allocation. So for example, I'm a user. I want to achieve the intent of limit order, right? But there's another guy who do the trading in AMM. So, but like AMM, so Uniswap need to solve this intent for me. I am the limit order guy, but who should pay the gas fee? Limit order guy or the AMM guy? It surely should be the limit order guy, right? Because like I put forward this intent of limit order. Why should I let the AMM guy pay for me? But currently it's paid by AMM guy. So there is a fee allocation problem, and in our opinion, there need to be a account abstraction here, but in a blockchain level to solve this fee allocation problem. I don't know if I explain this clearly, but if you have any other questions, you just feel free to ask anytime. Yeah. So with these 3 limits, but the essential reason for these 3 limits is that it's an execution layer for the current hook design is weak. So in our opinion, as a layer 1, Atala, so we want to make it stronger to enable the higher on-chain functionality in a execution layer level. So imagine there's a universal framework for the hook design without limit. It should be much cheaper and has next level of computation power and easy to build and have a blockchain level runtime context. And also definitely should be a fair fee allocation. Like that's why we are in Web3, right? So I want to introduce Atala, but just in 30 sentences. So it's a layer 1. It's an extensible blockchain enable block developers to build feature-rich dApps. It's general, it's abstract. So what Atala offers is first is two enhanced execution layer actually. EVM for smart contract, just like Ethereum. So we keep the data structure of Ethereum, but also we have another layer, is Wasm. So we are a EVM plus Wasm design in one blockchain, but two VM. So this Wasm is to run what our Aspect contract called Aspect. So we have an enhanced execution layer. I will tell you why Wasm is better in the next page. And also, we provide a new programming framework. It's not new, actually, because we are in the similar with Uniswap hook design, but we tell the same story because we all believe that it will be the new trends in crypto. To make, so that but with Aspect, we can make the app more modular and easy to build. But like, it's not a modular blockchain, it's modular DApp actually, because with smart contract and Aspect, it can combine to be a modular DApp, not a modular blockchain. So here is technical side, sorry about that. So like, just like a hook design, we can add additional logic throughout the transaction life cycle. So we can make a transaction to enable intent, even though the transaction the intent may not directly from the smart contract itself. But as you can see, we can have more runtime context even before the execution of smart contract or after the smart execution of smart contract. Or in the block level, like block init, they can all add additional code in this join point. And this additional code are written in Wasm. So one thing here is that maybe you heard of lots of idea about pre-compile solution. For example, Avalanche they also use pre-compile, and Evmos EVM extension or Stylus all pre-compile. So what's the difference? Because Stylus also EVM plus Wasm, right? It's 3 days ago in the Buzz speech. It's one wonderful speech. But we support dynamic loading and execution as this join point. And a second is that it's all the Aspect code that run in Wasm runtime. So with near native efficiency and secure as web browser. I think this page will be the most important page in my whole speech. So let's bring Aspect back to the internet neighbor protocol. I want to say three points why it's better than why it can be a universal framework for the intent or for the hook design. The first is that we have more or full context at blockchain level of runtime. Second is that it's run in Wasm runtime. It's a Wasm VM. So according to our benchmark, it's 2,000 times faster and also secure as web browsers because all the common web browser use it. And also we allow a account abstraction here to solve the problem of fee allocation. So with these three advantage, we make it a universal framework. And so I want to add one thing here is that we are a universal framework. We are built on top of Tendermint because we enable IBC. So in the future, we will, for now it's a layer 1, but in the future, we will also support other execution layer if they are EVM to add this Wasm execution layer to their EVM execution layer. So it can be a whole ecosystem. But the future plan, we need to focus on our layer 1 first because we are still in development stage. It's quite early. So basically for use a general page is that we can build a DApp by smart contract and Aspect. So developer can write basic logic in smart contracts before EVM. It can enjoy the EVM equivalence and enjoy the rich tooling and ecosystem of Ethereum, and also low barrier to entry. But also they can build their on-chain intent solver in Aspect to build this intent-centric protocol and enjoy the native speed and high efficiency for the additional module. And it's universal for all types. because it's a universal framework. So all the DEX, even though it's not as good as Uniswap or maybe a new one, they can use this kind of design. They can just write their business logic. Don't need to worry about the similar hook design or something like that. So because we can achieve it for them. So it's universal for all DEX or all the potential applications. And in the future, hopefully, all execution layer of EVM. So with our designs, can enable more innovations, like in DeFi side, just like I mentioned, as a DEX, as an AMM DEX, you can enable fully on-chain limit order, or more functional trading strategies. It's too complex. I will avoid this part. And also a security. Security, I want to say one thing here is that several months ago, it's unluckily Curve protocol it gets a reentrancy attack and lose 5 million, right? So it's a bad thing. It's made the crypto world worried about the DeFi world is maybe unsecure. But even though we are still in development stage, but we try to reach out to them to build together, because we think we write a code actually for this solution. Our solution can enable them to avoid runtime attack even at a bytecode level. Because for Curve protocol, they didn't do anything wrong. Their code is perfect. But after compiled, the wrong thing happened. So after compiled, we can actually reverse the transaction if something goes wrong. So this reentrancy attack can be avoided in a blockchain level. So that's the difference. And also we just launched, even though we haven't launched our DevNet, because several months ago we just launched this project and we are still in development stage. But in this playground, we can show developers can use this playground to write some ASCII code and to say what's happened, to have fun. Yeah. And also if you are interested, you are looking forward, you are more than welcome to have a try and maybe give a PR or contribute together with us. For the conclusion, maybe just say sentence fine. So with intent-neighbor protocol, we think we actually don't need to rely only on mempool for intents. If we can enable the protocol level, or I should say intent-neighbor protocols. And also, how can we achieve this method? Hook design makes on-chain intent solver possible and give us a clue. And third is that Uniswap v4 it's good, but it's kind of limited. Especially it's not a universal framework. So what we are building is a universal framework to enable this intent-neighbor protocols without limit. And Slang is smart contract plus what ASCII is equal to rich DF. So that's our contact info. That's my contact info. So if you have interest or want to have fun or just scan this code and let's talk more. Or if you have any other questions, feel free to ask me anytime or leave a comment. Totally welcome. Yeah.
Thanks. Any questions here? Okay.
Sure, please.
My question is, as a user, what is my point of interaction with Artella? Do I call a specific program on Aspect, or do I do a normal interaction with the EVM part on a smart contract?
Yeah, so a good question. So let me repeat his question. So as a user, why I develop my program in Wasm? Why not I directly build on top of Ethereum using EVM, right? Yeah, so I think to my understanding is that we totally agree that everybody want to, I'm also a developer, everybody want to build on top of Ethereum directly, but so everybody also know that not everybody can build on top of Ethereum because it's gas limit and low computation power. So there are also lots of layer 2 that appeared, and they choose to build on top of them. But we think, I think the general idea is that if we want to onboard the next million user for Web3, we need to onboard the next million developers. But even though like most developers in Web3, they choose to build Solidity in EVM, but like compared to the whole developer world, it's still a very small amount of developers, right? I think it's definitely less than 1 million, I think, or 3, I forget. But compared with Wasm, so Wasm supports C++, supports C, supports JavaScript, assembly script, right? Or Rust, so it's more universal, it's language agnostic. Most of the developers in Web2, they choose Wasm. So that's why we don't want to change the habits of developers. Yeah, definitely they can build on top of EVM, Ethereum, or Arbitrum, or Polygon, totally fine. But like, if we want to have more people come in, we need to enhance this EVM. So that's why we add Wasm. We didn't replace it with Wasm. We add it so more people can onboard and have fun like in crypto.
So when I do a transaction, does it land on the Wasm part by default?
It's not by default actually. So you can optionally choose to ban the aspect or not. It's totally fine, up to you. Mm-hmm. You can directly build your smart contract just as Ethereum and don't use this Wasm code. It's totally fine. Yeah, but you can also like add this to aspect throughout the transaction life cycle. Yeah.
So if I have an intent, then I would probably write a program on the Wasm layer which would delegate to the EVM layer at certain points of time based on Is my understanding correctly?
Exactly. So the amazing thing here is that even beyond smart contract, Aspect can solve some additional logic. For example, like AMM smart contract, it is the AMM only can solve the AMM problem, but their like who contract is for limit order, maybe other like there are other like who contract, right? So this can solve something beyond smart contract. So that can be the same intent or different intent. Yeah, so that's why we call it modular DApp. Or maybe I should not use the word intent. Actually, it's an abstract word. It's just put forward by the paradigm. But before that, nobody said it. Yeah, but you know the idea is that maybe you can use intent.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thanks for that.
No worries.
Okay, any other questions? If no, we will wrap up here. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.